All right, and we are live. Hey, Eric. What's up? Good morning. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Huh.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
All
There's
right.
a little bit of an echo.
Oh, okay. Strange.
Okay. All right. So, hey, Coffee Rockstars, what's up? And Coffee Rockstar is back, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the Coffee Rockstars this morning. Today we'll be discussing why coffee. Why today we'll be discussing why Robusta coffee prices are skyrocketing. What
Mm-hmm.
what we need to know. Discover. Let's repeat that. Why Robusta coffee prices are skyrocketing. This is like a tongue twister. What do you guys need to know? Discover the factors driving up the prices and how it affects the coffee industry. Number two, we'll be talking about the best places to learn more about coffee, explore top resources, courses, and events to boost your coffee knowledge. And three, perfect food pairings for your coffee. What's your favorite? Learn about the classic and unique combinations to elevate your coffee experience. So, guys, welcome to the Coffee Rockstars and thank you for joining us. Today, yung nga, marami tayong mapapag-usapan. There's three things we're talking about. And as early as now, may mga nag-hello na sa chat natin. So, present na naman si JV. Hello, JV. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have Lek Robles right here. Idol. Hello po. Good morning. So, Eric, how has it been? How's your week? What's up?
Well, it's hard to imagine that it's already the end of May. We're literally going into June, and the weather has gotten better. I think we've gotten a few rain here and there, but certain parts got really hammered. Like, I don't know, there was flooding all over certain areas during I think last week. It was nuts.
Oo
It
nga,
was
oo nga.
nuts.
So, tag-ulan na and yung nga sana naman handa tayo. The summer was long. I gotta admit, the summer was long and it was interesting because just last week, we were talking about how hot it was here in Manila. And bigla na lang umulan after our episode last week.
Mm.
So, guys, the Coffee Rockstar is a place where we would like to give Filipino coffee professionals and specialty coffee enthusiasts a voice. So, guys, if you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to leave a message in the chat and we will get to you on the chat and let's have a discussion. Let's talk about what's happening in the world of coffee and yung nga sana um, mapakita natin sa world na maganda rin ang Philippine coffee. At saka yung community natin ay solid. So, Eric, do you want to jump into the first topic or do you want to talk about what's happening this week first and next week?
This week and next week. What is happening this week? What is happening this week?
This week, nothing much because the week has
Okay.
ended. It's Friday.
I was like, shit.
But next week's gonna be fun. The Philippine Coffee Expo is happening.
That's
There's a
right.
lot of people coming into town, and it seems like it's going to be an action-packed week at the Philippine Coffee Expo. And
Mhm.
you and me, the Coffee Rockstars, and the rest of the team will be at the Philippine Coffee Expo. We have a booth there. It's a condensed booth, and we'll be featuring some coffees for everyone to try. May mga local tayo na kape. Some are experimental, so it's very limited, and the others are something we have on the menu all year round. Eric, do you have anything new to show at the booth, or are you gonna wait for it to become a
I
surprise?
think we have a few new items for Hario that came in. I think that'll be featured there. There is going to be a replenishment of stocks for the Pegasus because I know that was pretty hard to come by. It sold out very well. The Pegasus seems to be a pretty solid moving item right about now. A couple new kettles, I think, are also going to be there. So it should be a fun show with a lot of different stuff.
All right. So the Philippine Coffee Expo is starting from
Uh,
June 7 till
the
tama ba?
9,
9.
7
There
to
is
9.
a fee to enter,
Mhm.
and there are, I believe, a day pass and 3-day passes, and there's a lot of lectures and a lot of things going on. So, guys, check it out. Again, this is parang once a year event. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things happening, and there's going to be a lot of talks. There's the World Barista Champion is coming, Mikel Jensen.
Mm-hmm.
I kept seeing more posts of him coming. I believe he should be on his way. I don't know. But hey,
They
Mikel, if
are.
you're already in town, the Coffee Rockstars say hello.
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 There will also be talks. I think Mikhail's talk is going to be about how competitions benefit the coffee community. We have Cheryl Lee, who is from Malaysia, who is also going to be talking about what it takes, or at least maybe like an intro to competition, or what do judges look for. I think I could be wrong. I believe there is also going to be a cupping. There's going to be cuppings all over the place, the whole place. But I think the talks is for a separate, like there's two levels of tickets. So there's an all access ticket, which gives you access to the talks. And then there's going to be like just a show ticket. So just in case you're not interested in the talks, then at least there is different tiers.
All right. Okay.
Oh, I saw something that they had. Loveromics did these really, really, really cute cups that everyone seems to be carrying around their neck.
Okay.
I believe the Philippine Coffee Guild has one with the it's yellow and it has their logo on it, and that I think will be for sale in the show.
Okay, very nice. So let's see if mabudol tayo at bumili rin tayo, right? Because I think every show we've gone to, we picked up one of these. So we have like a huge stack of these cups already.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have one right there?
No, I have a World of Busan pen.
Okay. Back to the chat. So Ken here says hello. Hello po, Ken. Good morning.
Hello.
Guys, kung may mga gusto ko yung itanong or may mga comments kayo, please feel free to just message on the chat. Also, we do have a giveaway. Very soon, we'll be sending the mechanics of the giveaway. This is a Comandante brush. We showed it last episode. I don't have it here with me, but this is for cleaning the burr. So the mechanics we'll put out the mechanics really soon, but it would have something to do with putting comments and watching our episodes weekly. Okay? Okay, Eric, let's jump into our first topic.
Wait, here's a question.
Sorry. Oh, okay, go.
Was there any new coffee shops that opened last week that you attended? Was there any coffee events that you attended, or this week?
This week? The week went by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I don't think I went to any coffee shop openings this week.
Okay.
I did get to spend a lot of time in the BGC area this week, but I did not go coffee shop. I had some interesting dinners. I had a dinner at an Italian place on top of SM Aura.
Okay.
Masarap siya. Me and the kids enjoyed it. But as far as coffee, no, not this week.
Not this week? Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so let's jump into our very first topic, which is the skyrocketing. Hindi ko nga masabi kanina yung skyrocketing. Hirap na hirap ako mag-pronounce. But the skyrocketing prices of Robusta, and how is it affecting the coffee industry? Eric, you are more experienced in buying green beans than I am, at least this kind of green beans. So tell us your thoughts and what should the coffee industry do? What are we, for example, yung mga coffee roasters, what should they do? Or coffee shop owners, what should they do? And yung mga consumers, what should we expect? What's going to happen?
So it's, I guess you can look at it from different perspectives, or not perspectives, but different reasonings. Let's start with the most obvious one. Weather. It's like basic, weather patterns have affected coffee growth, which we've talked about many, many times. And the weather these days have been so messed up that I guess you can say that Vietnam right now, which is one of the largest Robusta producing countries, they've been in a drought. I was talking to a producer a month ago, and he told me that last 2 weeks ago was the first time they've had rain since December, and it rained for one day.
Wow.
So very similar to how most crops work. Without water, they usually die. So
Okay.
there's definitely a decrease in the amount or the available amount in the harvests. So therefore, people who, I think we saw this even when remember when Arabica prices were skyrocketing and people were just hoarding coffees. So I guess a lot of the farmers who are there are hoarding their stock or whatever they have available and selling it for higher prices, just because they're not sure. It's already clear that their harvest is going to be a lot smaller. So if their harvest is a lot smaller, obviously they want to make more money. So creating more, if there's more demand, obviously price will go up. So that's one aspect of it. So because of natural factors, I think that was an issue. Even here, if you look at it in Manila, because certain regions in Philippines, some of the Arabicas are very scarce. So they are able to command higher prices, right? It's basic economics, right? Now, the other factors that we can look into is people are realizing that Robusta is not a villain. It's not meant to be a filler. It shouldn't just be seen as something that takes up space for coffee. It adds value to the coffee. Every single coffee bean adds value. So whether it's an Arabica blend or whether it's an Arabica Robusta blend, they can't just say, I'm going to add Robusta to make my coffee more affordable. That's no longer how the game works or the system works. And I see Kirk saying, hey.
Yes, and Bernard says law of economics. So guys, thank you for contributing to this discussion and welcome to the show. Dumadami at dumadami yung mga nanonood ng Coffee Rockstars. So welcome mga Coffee Rockstars. This is not just parang a monologue where me and Sir Eric over there talk, but we would like you to join the discussion as well. So if there's anything you'd like to contribute to this this discussion about Robusta, that's our very first topic, and the crazy prices that's happening right now, please join in the chat. We have Mick Hernando saying hello po, good morning. But yeah, like you're totally right. Like Robusta should not be treated like a villain. It shouldn't be a way to just pangpamura ng kape, no? Historically speaking, that was what was happening. People were using Robusta to lower the price, but I believe the Coffee Quality Institute and of course the specialty coffee community has done a very good job of lifting up Robusta. Right, it's become more sought after. They actually have a Robusta tasting wheel now. So they have identified all the flavors or most flavors that you will find in Robusta coffee. The other thing with Robusta is now that climate change is happening, the growing areas for Arabica is becoming less and less. Pakunti na pakunti. Because for Arabica, you need cold climate, you need elevation, you need all these things. While Robusta, it can take the heat, right? It can take the weather. It's tougher.
Still needs water though.
Yeah, exactly. They all need water. But yung ang nangyayari ngayon is since pakunti na pakunti yung Arabica, marami nagsishift. They're trying to future-proof what they're doing, and they're trying to make sure that there's continuity in the supply. When that happens, of course, Robusta prices will go up, right? And it's not parang Robusta prices does not act on its own. It's dependent on Arabica as well. So if historically speaking, whenever Arabica prices go up, people shift to Robusta. Mahal na nga yung Arabica. Of course, yung presyo rin ng Robusta tataas. So the snowballing effect will be Arabica will go up. Arabica will become more expensive. It will balance each other out. So ang key na lang dyan, so kung coffee farmer ka, one, congratulations, tumataas yung presyo ng crop mo, but you have to plant more. You have to plant more, and you have to sana, you guys can plant something that we here in the Philippines have. We have Divuiri, which is also called Excelsa, right? This is climate resistant and the yield is big. And we also have Liberica. There's more people joining in the chat. So Prince de la Cruz says, Shawat po. Shawat po. Chief Master. We have Kirk saying, I know one in our area who sells premium Robusta green coffee beans ungraded for 1,000 pesos per kilo. Grabe! Grabe! Wild. That is wild. That is wild. And that's a little bit too much. Um, and then Ray here says, agreed, Robusta is no longer for fillers to make
Hey, Ray.
blend cheaper in price. Hey, Ray. Good morning. Good morning. And Kirk is, thank you so much, guys, for joining the conversation. They said it's because they've seen Robusta sell at that price. That's why they think they should do the same, not considering the quality. So, Eric, that's one of the things, no? The price and quality goes hand in hand. It can't just be
No, not anymore. When logically, yes, it goes hand in hand. But when there's scarcity and people buy into the scarcity, they will shift. They will just continue with it. All right. I think one of the biggest issues that we will always encounter is if there are people who are willing to pay that price, the price will continue to it becomes accepted and then becomes normalized. So that's your big issue that Kirk mentioned. Yeah, there is some people who are selling their Robusta at 1,000 pesos because it's not right. Parang they'll say my neighbor was selling it for this much, whether it's good or not. And if people will still buy it, it officially pushes the coffee to that price and it becomes normalized, right?
So the
Until
key is,
people say,
so the key is if somebody buys it, then that's the right price. Tama?
well,
Kung
it
may
means
bumili,
people are willing
yun
to
na
pay
yun.
for it,
Yeah, exactly. So
right?
yung that's why I think it's very important for us to also educate the consumers to ensure that they're getting what they pay for, that they understand what they're paying for.
The
This is very
issue with
important.
the issue with Robusta though is there's only so much consumers can do because it's always the big companies that will be buying.
Are you Eric? Are you the one giving Unli coffee at the office?
It's the office. What, you want me to start charging them for coffee?
So Eric, sa office mo, ano ba yan? Anong Unli coffee mo dyan? May Robusta ba yan?
No Robusta.
Oh, wow!
No Robusta.
So guys, Coffee Rockstars, if you guys want Unli Coffee, yan, mag-apply na kayo kay Sir Eric. May Unli Coffee sa office niya at hindi siya robusta. Hindi siya robusta.
Now, here's the thing though, because this will also link to coffee quality, right?
Yeah.
So, assuming that the farmers can say, I can get a premium price for crappy Robusta, or let's say Robusta that isn't fantastic, for example, that it's kind of dirty, there's sticks, there's stones, but here's the but. People are still willing to buy it. Then it'll continue causing people who will say, I'm spending so much time processing, making Robusta nice, but these people who are kind of selling parang no effort coffee.
Bernard, pumunta ka sa office ni Sir Eric next week. You're gonna be in town, di ba? Oh, daan ka. He'll give you some breakfast blend. That's probably what he has there.
Right.
So Bernard will be going to Manila next week, so let's hang out together. Doon tayo sa Philippine Coffee Expo breakfast blend. May Unli Coffee doon si Actually siguro maraming Unli Coffee.
Madaming Unli Coffee dyan. I think a lot of the booths are offering you're allowed to. Oh wait, Kirk has something.
Yeah. So Kirk says when you buy local beans in the Philippines, not all but most, it's always a surprise. So para siyang ano yun yung saying
Blind box. Blind box.
Blind box. Gotcha pala, gotcha. Pag open mo, sometimes it's good. Sometimes too much moisture, not consistent, but the price is always increasing. So, yung nga kailangan nga talaga i-educate natin yung mga consumers natin. Kirk, we'll see you next week. We're so happy that you're able to join us every week in this show. Thank you for supporting the Coffee Rockstars. Yeah, Eric, keep going.
So the other thing is there's been actually even the idea of, so on the one hand you have weather, you have the other point where Robusta is now seen as something that adds a component, a beneficial component to your coffee. So it's
Right.
no longer that just as a filler. And then there's also the group that have started really noticing and working on specialty Robusta. So there is a group that is looking into fine Robustas, and they're also working on that as well. So there's going to be a level of parang, syempre, specialty Robusta will try to command a higher price point than what yung parang regular Robusta would be. That I'm finding that as an interesting place right now, because Robusta prices are more expensive than Arabicas na ngayon. Like it's so much higher that, the big issue that companies, more so large scale companies that actually use Robusta, is it's hard for them to shift. Kasi sabihin lang natin, for example, if you are a big chain coffee company and you have Robusta in your blend, you can't change it. If you're an international company, you can't just 1 minute say, okay, we're no longer using Robusta in these coffees because coffee prices are too expensive. Because their big companies are slow to mobilize and to change, right? So no matter if ever they're going to change, it would take maybe 1 quarter, maybe 2 quarters for them to actually roll that out. And it needs to be a top-down approach. It's not like a local, parang let's say some big shot company na malaki dito can just say, oh sige, hindi na tayo mag-Robusta, 100% Arabica na lang. Do you know how long that's going to take? It moves very slowly. It's going to say, oh yeah, R&D pa natin yan. Oh, we're going to do costing. We have to do this. We have to do market research. So,
Hey, C, good morning. Good morning, C.
I see.
And JV says, how's the perception and demand for Robusta coffee evolve in the specialty coffee industry?
You know who does a lot of work with Robusta coffee? Paul Kim from CQI. I think I heard rumors that he might have bought a farm in Davao or something like that, but I know he does a lot of work with specialty or fine Robustas. How fine Robusta is accepted in the market, I don't know. Maybe you can give us some insights on that.
Okay, and Kirk says, are you doing an episode during the expo? That would be really cool. Maybe. We'll be there. We have a booth. We will be there, and we'll be goofing around the Conlin's booth, and maybe we'll be brewing up some coffee. Hopefully, we have somebody to take a video of all the happenings, and then we will feature it next week. So since the Coffee Expo is going to be next week, we might not be going live next week. We might just do Instagram, and we might do a post event or a post Rockstar recap of the Philippine Coffee Expo. So if you guys would like to watch or see what's happening, just follow our Instagram, our YouTube, and our Facebook profile. It's Michael Harris PH. That's our handle, and 604 Eric on Instagram. So just follow us to be updated on the latest happening. So meron pa tayo dito mga comments.
Yes.
Charlie. So Charlie says PCQC just reported the highest grades of Robusta in competition this year. There's even a push for some of the entries to compete in the international competition this year. Wow. So I can't wait to taste these coffees. If these are the highest grades of Robusta in competition, yeah, I hope it's world class, and of course graded naman, mga professional naman ang mga nag-grade nito. So I'm really curious what it's going to taste like. Kasi it's about time. It's about time Philippines or Philippine coffee gets world recognition, and the only way we can do this is by pushing and trying hard. Not just pushing the competitions locally, but it's more on being on the ground and pushing the boundaries of coffee, right? Like, we can't. It's obvious that it's been happening here in the Philippines, not only in the Philippines but around the world. Na they're treating all the species of coffee the same way, right? We have to understand that one, yung Arabica, Robusta, Liberica, these are all three different species. And processing for one doesn't work for processing on another, right? Just like when we're doing processing in Colombia versus in the Philippines, or Ethiopia and in the Philippines. The microclimate is different, right? The situation is different. Everything is totally different. So it's important na we as Filipinos, we spend the time to figure out how to process our own coffees, how to deal with our coffees here in the Philippines. Iba-iba yung klima eh. Iba-iba yung microorganism, iba-iba rin yung especially mga tao in our habits. Iba-iba. It's not one process fits all. So yeah, Charlie, we look forward to tasting the coffees. Excited ako. Next week na yung Philippine Coffee Expo, so maybe we'll get to try some of these great robustas. Also in the chat, we have we'll be offering Ilocos Sur Robusta coffees at the PCG booth. Yon, sa Philippine Coffee Guild booth. Yun, we will try it next week. And then Neil is a very good friend of the show, and so Neil was one of the guys who did get to taste most of the coffees. So kung ang comment niya ay PCQC Robustas, I think emoji wink wink and 100%. I think that's a hint that he feels it's good. So if he's confident about it, I'm confident about it. I
There we
can't.
go.
Okay, so kung may mga pahabol pa, we'll get back to your comments. If you guys still have some comments about the soaring prices of Robusta, please join the chat and just make a post, and then we will feature it online. So Eric, what
What do
should
you
be
do?
yeah? What do we do? What do we do? Like, coffee prices are going nuts. Do we just accept it? Do we stop drinking coffee? Because some people, that's what they're doing. They just stop offering coffee and like offer tea, right?
As a whole? As a whole?
Well, some yung marami naman kasing restaurant, hindi naman talaga sila coffee shop, di ba? So shifting is very easy for them.
Yeah.
And the other thing, speaking of crazy prices, if you guys didn't know, if Robusta prices did increase, and ang increase niya is napakalaki, right? Almost double. Yung presyo ng cacao recently, this year alone, umakyat ng 300%. So, yung kape, hindi pa tayo ganoon ka nagwa-wild, Yung cacao ang nagwa-wild. So, kung cacao farmer ka, congrats. Nag-increase ng 300% yung presyo ninyo.
I think a few people have been advocating for the cacao farmers to increase their price, because from what I've heard from the past, they've been sorely underpriced, or they've been selling for such a low price and they never really realized that or at least the farmers didn't understand the demand for their product until they started seeing. It's kind of like that. There was that documentary where somebody brought coffee to the producing regions and say, this was your coffee and it's selling for this much, and they were like, oh my god, it's that whole thing where they realized how much they could be potentially getting.
Yeah, so yung cacao prices, that's what happens when people. That's the beautiful thing about social media and the internet, right? Like, now that more people, the producers, have access to the internet, they know how much their stuff is selling for, right? They know how much a bar of chocolate is selling for, and a bar of chocolate in weight compared to coffee. Ang gaan kaya ng isang bar ng chocolate, tapos yung bentahan napaka out of this world, right? Compared sa coffee na isang bag. Magkano isang bag mo, right? Like, isang bag mong kape that would last you like maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, right? Costs just as much as a bar of chocolate that you would eat in a few seconds. Ayun na, naghahanap na si Sir Eric. While we're waiting for Sir Eric, may naisip
How much cacao is in a bar of Toblerone?
Ang laki naman yan. How long would it take you to eat that?
I don't know, but it's expiring in a month.
Okay. So you should bring it to the Philippine Coffee Expo next week, and we should eat it, or you should eat it now.
So,
Okay.
according to this, its main ingredient is sugar, salted caramel, almond pieces, sugar salt, glucose syrup. I don't see anything here until probably the eighth about the 10th ingredient where it finally says cocoa mass. So clearly, this bar of chocolate is more sugar than cocoa. But we grew up with this, so there's nostalgia in Toblerone.
So in essence, a bar of chocolate is a lot of sugar.
There we go.
Sabi ni Kirk, we will have free taste of BARMM coffee in our booth. Yes, we will visit you, Kirk, and mga coffee rockstars na nanonood, please visit Kirk at his booth. Gusto rin niya makakita ng mga Funko Pop. So, yung nga, what should coffee shops do? What should
It's interesting because it really depends on your scale of operations. If you're an independent coffee shop, you can easily shift the Robusta out and switch it to Arabica. Madali lang yan. Or don't offer that blend. If you're normally offering a specific blend, say, not gonna happen. We're gonna shift to a different, maybe something that's at 100% Arabica, because Arabica prices are actually cheaper than Robusta at this point.
At this point. But how long is that gonna last? Baka papalit-palit naman to mga to.
Well, it's always parang even Arabica prices are up right now as well. So both markets have gone up. So they're trading over $5 per pound. I think per pound. Over $5 per pound.
Ang mahal naman nun, grabe. So would it be safe to say, or would it be a smarter way to just keep offering Robustas and just increase prices, or hindi na tayo makaka-increase ng price sa coffee shop?
Assuming that your market are willing to, kasi it's always about what your market's willing to accept. Either that or you take smaller margins. Kasi malaki pa rin naman yung margins mo sa kape. It's not your main bread and butter if you're a restaurant. Kasi I will applaud
That's
you.
Restaurant.
If you're a restaurant,
Coffee shop.
If they have other offerings? No.
Mahal din ang tsokolate.
No. But let's say, for example, there's always been this shift. Like, we have to remember that even if you look at the economics of a coffee shop, when we were in Korea, they had so much offerings. It wasn't just coffee, right? Parang, I think even if you look at a lot of restaurants, or let's say cafes, a majority of the people who primarily order pure espresso or coffee beverage lang talaga is maybe in the morning. But in the afternoons, towards the afternoons, you have milk drinks, soda drinks. You have a lot of different beverages that will move, fraps. So how much Robusta or how much components of Robusta do you actually use in your shop? You have to look at it from a holistic perspective. You can't just look at it from, porket lang tumaas yung presyo. Katulad lang kasi sibuyas. Tumaas nga yung presyo ng sibuyas. Would it affect a majority of your restaurant's menu, assuming that you have a widespread menu? Not every single meal has or uses red onions.
Bistek Tagalog.
Mayroon bang parang itang kainan na puro bistek Tagalog lang yung binibenta?
Kalang favorite ko yun eh. And hindi ko na matandaan ko nagtaas yung price. But when onions were scarce, I really missed it. So do you think that's gonna happen?
Would people miss Robusta?
Are people going to miss Robusta? Now,
do people even know the taste of Robusta?
Alam mo, medyo nami-miss ko na mag-Robusta. The more we're talking about it, the more I want it. And unfortunately, I don't have Robusta right here. But PCQC, magro-Robusta kami ni Sir Eric, and magro-Robusta wild kami dyan kasi medyo nakakamiss na yung Robusta.
Mm-hmm. Parang it always goes down to parang if you're a large company that needs to have Robusta into your coffees, then you have to just accept it. You have to adjust price in the end, or you take a loss, or a smaller margin at least. I refuse to believe a business would take a loss. It just doesn't make any sense.
Hindi talaga pwede. And of course, if you are in a business, you have to ensure that the numbers work, right? Or else you won't last. So as
Mhm.
consumers, the main thing is, and the reason why we're doing this episode is to let consumers know that, yeah, the prices of Robusta is going up, right? And it's going to affect all prices. And it's just fair, like coffee farming is hard. Coffee is very, very difficult. And the farmers and the entire coffee value chain must make more, right? A lot of them sell their coffees under cost. So negosyo rin naman sila, and kailangan din nila kumita. So
Oh,
I think if we want Philippine coffee to survive, we just have to accept that we have to pay a little bit more. On the other side naman, ako as somebody who worked with the coffee value chain from farm all the way to processing and roasting and all the way to the coffee shop, our goal is to ensure that there's more value in the cup, right? That you get more value for your coffee. Um, so sana ganun mag-isip lahat, right? At least kami, the reason why we accept the higher prices is because we are trying to put more value into the coffee. So,
well,
Eric, final words, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
coffee is a commodity. It's meant to go up and down. That's how it is. It's like oil. Gas
Sorry.
prices will go up and down. You can't fix it. And if you don't, it's not possible to fix it. So you have to adapt to the changes. Yun lang.
Exactly.
That's the key thing that you have to do. See what works for your situation, and see, different circumstances limitations will guide your movement.
All right. So that's it for the Robusta section of our episode. Let's move on to something a little bit more fun.
Hmm.
And that is okay. So, now that specialty coffee is really popular, and yung nga maraming tandaan ko nung nag-start tayo in coffee, wala pa mga YouTube channels, wala pa mga learning resources, and even the internet was very weak. I remember when I started in coffee, dial up pa yung internet, right? Wala pang
Wow.
ano. Yeah, because that was 2000 to 2001, and dial up pa yung internet. So I don't know how many people in the audience remember dial up, but it's when I tell my kids about dial up internet, they do not understand. They don't understand how slow the internet is, right? Back then. So napaka-blessed natin and napaka-blessed na mga bata ngayon na mabilis yung internet, pati cellphone. Dati nga yung cellphone natin used to have keys, right? And there was no internet on the cell phone at the time. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about best places to learn more about coffee. What are the top resources, courses, and events to boost your coffee knowledge? So Eric, you and everyone in the chat, if you guys have coffee resources or places that you like visiting to learn more about coffee, please share it with us. Eric, bakit tumatawa?
Well, the most accessible one that I think a lot of people use is YouTube. Parang that's their entryway or entry into to coffee.
So speaking
Yeah.
of YouTube, sino sa YouTube ang mga favorites? Okay, so of course we have James Hoffman, who is really thorough and is really choosy and very careful with the things he talks about on his channel.
Mhm.
But I think he's a really, really great resource. Sino pa?
Uh, I don't know. I don't follow a lot of coffee tubers just because, okay, I could be wrong. Maybe it's just me, but I find that following instructions through videos to very tedious. And even though it's being done, I still don't know whether I'm doing it right or not. So parang doon yung mahirap na parang I'm following along, but then when it doesn't give you the same output, you're thinking, am I doing something wrong? Parang it's like doing a workout, stretching yoga, stretching exercise on YouTube. You might actually end up hurting yourself because if you're not doing something right, in the end, baka mapilayan ka pa, and then you have to go see a real doctor.
Okay, so JV says Prometheus. Yes, I have watched Prometheus's video. It's really, he's good. He's very thorough. Most of his videos are more about tools and gadgets that he features, but it's all a deep dive. It's always a deep dive on the items. So Prometheus on YouTube is a good one. Si Sir Eric naman, what he's saying is yung nga for him, kasi iba-iba naman tayo, for him, he's not much of a YouTube guy. He'd rather learn it in person. So that's our next topic, mga places where you can learn, right? But for now, let's focus on YouTube. Sino pa? So we have James Hoffman, we have Prometheus. How about Lance Hendrick? Do people like Lance Hendrick? I think yung mga videos naman ni Lance Hendrick is very deep, very detailed. He works. I love it when he does research or experiments with a lot of data. So he has a lot of data points to base his um his recommendations on. Also, I like it that he's very much into grinders, like addicted ata siya sa grinders. He really loves burrs. So that's another learning resource. Lance Hendrick. Another one who's really good, who's also very popular on TikTok naman, si Morgan Eckroff.
Is she TikTok or YouTube?
I think she's both on YouTube and TikTok. She's very popular. She's the American or the US national champion, I think, a few years ago. And she also has a lot of followers on YouTube. So okay din siya, maganda yung mga recipes niya.
What about that Jay? Was his name Jay, the guy who created the UFO? You were mentioning when we met him in Korea, he has a following. The guy who made the UFO dripper?
Yeah, so Brew by Jay, I think is his name. He's active on IG naman. No, so that's a good resource on IG. So the nice thing about social media these days is maraming places where you can learn about coffee. And the important thing that I think everyone as consumers, as people who consume not just the videos but also coffee, is we still need to think, right? We still need to think if these things make sense. Kasi sa yung TikTok, grabe kung ano-ano na lang pinaggagawa nila. Okay, share.
Did you watch the one where it's green onions in coffee?
No, not yet.
So it's like a green onion milk latte.
Yeah, and did the person like it? Na-enjoy ba nila?
Well, they have to like it.
What do you mean they have to like it?
Well, if you're making the video and you're endorsing it, you have to push and you have to make that weird smiley face and saying, "Oh, so delicious."
Oh, guys, everyone in the chat, have you guys tried this? And do you enjoy green onion on coffee? Because that sounds really weird. I can't imagine doing it. I did see this. I did see it, and I think it takes very magagaling silang mga actor kung nagustuhan nila. I can't imagine green onion on coffee. Kasi as coffee professionals and also coffee lovers, right? When you use coffee, when you do coffee cupping, it tastes onion in coffee. I think that's a defect. I would say that's a defect. I wouldn't score that high. I would just say, like, naturally, onion in coffee, you would say it's vegetal, right? Doon pa lang sabihin mo, bobo na yung taga-roast eh. So why would you put onion in your coffee and serve it to your customers? Unless
why would somebody dip a French fry in ice cream?
That actually tastes good.
Oh, see? So that's probably what their thought process was. They'd be like, this could be a thing. It can be a thing.
Okay. So now that we've talked about online resources, ano pa ang mga ibang resource? So, a lot of people, when they learn, they learn, they're visual learners. Others naman, they hear. Others naman, they want to do. They want to be there in person. So, like Sir Eric, he likes learning in person. So, there's a lot of schools that are here in the Philippines. There's a few that's running. We have our own. Ours is called Institute for Coffee Excellence. We are in charge, or we are managing the global coffee school programs for the Philippines. Aside from us, we have classes every week. Our schedule is at the vault.ph/learn or /education. It's all there. But aside from us, there's other places where you can learn. Another one that has been around for a very long time, and our friend Amin works there, is BCAA. Right. So they're another resource.
They do SEA classes.
Do you have any other ones, Eric?
I know Commune actually does classes as well. I think it's usually done by either Vanessa or Ross. So that's one that's being conducted there as well. The Barista Brothers are another company that does trainings and like sensor. I'm not sure if they're doing sensory, but I know they do trainings for coffee and mixing drinks.
Okay.
Who else does classes?
Hey, I just noticed that your telephone still sounds like a telephone.
Yeah, it's a regular telephone.
Okay, wow, because we don't have any of those here.
Yeah, it's a
been
regular
a long
telephone.
time. It's been a long time since I've heard a real telephone ring. So, wow, low-tech ka dyan, ah.
Ay, kulang na lang ako yung dial na yung umiikot ng
Oo nga, baka naka-dial up ka pa dyan. So, what other places? So, there's Commune, yes. I think they focus more on the consumer side for their education, which is really nice. And then, you mentioned Barista Brothers. Sino pa? Guys, if you guys have other places or schools that you'd like to feature or talk about here on the Rockstar Podcast, just please share in the chat. So other places would be sino pa?
In Davao, di ba? Davao ba yun? Sa Davao ba si Gina and Marcus?
Yes.
Di ba they have a school?
Yes, they do have a school in Davao. Ma'am Gina and Sir Marcos will also be at the expo. So, if you're from Davao and you'd like to take a class with Ma'am Gina or Sir Marcos, go check them out. They're also going to be at the Philippine Coffee Expo. And I can't wait to see them. It's been a long time since I've seen them. Other places, I believe Laika Valdez, which is a very good friend of the show, has classes coming up.
Oh, yes.
Soon. Yes. So there is competition readiness. I don't know if any of these classes are full, but if you guys know her Instagram, I think her Instagram is called I Need a Comb. I think that's her IG handle. So go reach out. She's running some classes along with Cheryl Lee, also a good friend of the show. They have some classes coming up this June. So if there's stuff that you're interested in, I think they're doing SCA Sensory
1 and 2.
Yeah, I think it's called Intermediate and Foundation, Intermediate, and Professional, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So there, with the SCA classes, from my understanding, is you can actually take the class and not pay the exam. Or you can take the class and then take the exam, just in case you have a thing where you're like, oh, I don't want pressure, I don't want to deal with this, I just want to go learn.
Don't let my kids hear that, because they'll say, what school is this, and we want to go there. Because it's exam week last week, right, for the kids, and they're just going nuts.
Filipino
Coffee Institute with Mamimi. Yes, Andrew Sam Choi. Okay. Yeah, so that's another one. I don't know where they're based. They also do roasting classes. And then there is an ongoing Q Arabica class with Miss Cherry at BCA Davao. Ayun.
There we go.
So, yun. So, guys, just there's so many resources for learning. And yung nga, ang swerte-swerte natin. Because, again, when me and Eric here started in the coffee industry, wala. There was nowhere to learn about coffee. Walang places to study about coffee. Even when you go to the library, wala. The coffee books are so old. I remember there's this old coffee book. It's like this thick, and it's about coffees around the world. It's this French guy who went around the world and like tasted the coffees. And I remember that book so distinctly kasi yung sinabi niya tungkol sa Philippine coffee medyo hindi maganda eh, na yung nga dubious daw ang mga coffee traders natin dito. So I hope that has changed. I think this generation of I think sinulat yun in 1980s eh. So medyo matagal na yun. So sana naman yung generation natin right now na mga coffee traders medyo mas okay. Sabi ni Kirk, if you're based in Cotabato City, look for me. I teach barista classes too. Yan. So, kung taga Cotabato kayo, reach out to Kirk. He teaches classes and he teaches barista. Ayun.
Who was the one? So, if ever you're interested or people are interested, they can always go to Coffee Lab. You can try out, you can demo, you can ask for a demo, whichever demo units that we have available in the store, you can try it out. You can figure it out. You can ask questions. It's you can. There's a coffee lab in Greenbelt 5, BGC, in Cebu, in Avida, where Avida Reala yata. I think that's what it's called. If there are certain equipments that you want to try out, you can go experiment and you can go try playing around with different types of brewers, drippers, or kettles. That's something for you to try out.
All right. So we have a few minutes left. And for our last topic, perfect food pairings for your coffee. So naunahan mo na to. You already mentioned one pairing. Um, uh, discover the factors driving hindi. Perfect food pairings for your coffee. What's your favorite? Learn about the classic and unique combinations that elevate your coffee experience. So guys, kung may mga idea kayo for food pairings, please share in the chat. Si Eric may naisip na siya, chocolate ata kasi mag-expire na yung chocolate niya. What other food pairings are great? Like ako, myself, I like pairing my coffee, especially my iced coffee, iced americano, with Filipino breakfasts. I like it with my bangos. I like it with lagi breakfast yung Filipino pandesal natin. So perfect for coffee. But guys in the chat, if you guys have any other food pairing you'd like us to talk about or share, please feel free to mention. Kung may nakita kayong weird sa TikTok, share din ninyo. Kasi we would like this as part of our regular show to talk about food. Ano pa ang mga favorite pairings mo, Eric, with coffee?
Biscuits, cookies.
Biscuits. Okay. I remember we did a food pairing dito at the Institute for Coffee Excellence, and we paired it with KBL, Kajos, Baboy at KBL, Langka, right?
Interesting.
And it was really great. We paired it with a CM Itogon coffee.
Okay.
So super sarap niya. So Philippine cuisine actually works really good with specialty coffee. And the reason for that is, as Filipinos, we love flavorful stuff, right? Like we love we love putting vinegar in our food, right? Kasi pati adobo natin may vinegar, 'di ba? Like yung one of the Filipino favorites has vinegar. And this vinegar, because the acidity is so high, what happens is when it hits coffee, which usually has, especially yung mga specialty coffee natin, may tamis at may asim. So itong mataas na asim na to will more or less like block out the perception of sour in that coffee. And what you will find is that coffee becomes sweeter. So again, it's about balancing flavors. So tayong mga Pinoy, mahilig tayo sa mga maaasim, mahilig tayo sa mga maaalat. An example lang, one of the key things about Robusta coffee is it is salty, right? So when you eat something salty, let's say Jack and Jill chips, which is another nice pairing with for me, Robusta and Jack and Jill chips works really well. When you eat something salty and you taste Robusta, it sort of negates salty flavors out of that Robusta, right? It sort of blocks it. And you get the other flavors in the Robusta. So you get bitter, you get a little bit of the nuttiness, you get, usually Robusta kasi walang sour, tsaka mababa yung sweet. So, you should just pop a candy or pop a Mentos, yung mint.
Okay.
So it's all about balancing flavors, right? Like, yung nga, tayo mga Pinoy, we like intense stuff. We
I
like
still remember yung people nung bata tayo, di ba? We used to see people dip their pandesal into the kape as sausawan.
Yes. And the reasoning for that is, di ba, ang pandesal, ang Filipino pandesal, it's sweet. Matamis siya right? Matamis siya, and pagka dinip mo naman sa mapait na na kape, at the time nung bata tayo, mapait ng kape. Wala hindi pa uso yung asim na kape, hindi pa maasim hindi pa
Diba, 3-in-1 noon?
Yes, exactly. Hindi, wala pang 3-in-1. Nung bata tayo, it was just one. It was just coffee. and then you just dip the pandesal in it and you like take a bite out of it. So it does two things. It sort of puts moisture into our pandesal, right? And since the pandesal is sweet and the the coffee is bitter, it sort of balances each other out. So it's just now I want some padisap.
Well, there you
Uh,
go.
Oo nga.
Hey, Don in the house.
Ayun. Don, hey Don, what's up? Baka may coffee pairing kang pwedeng i-share sa amin, Don. Okay. So,
I wonder
our
if they
live,
pair sushi with coffee. I'm guessing something nice and light.
I think like a cold brew. A cold brew. It has to be a cold brew. Kasi kung mainit-init tapos kumain ka ng sushi, medyo
Well, sushi's cold, so it's a nice hot weather food.
wouldn't that like sort of clash, like it's hot and cold, like 'di ba? Parang it, I don't know. I just feel that sushi goes well with, oh, I know. Um Maybe an espresso tonic would go well with the sushi, the carbonated espresso, yung that kind of thing, like a shot of espresso on maybe ano yung uso? Like orange juice or lime and then soda water, right?
Mhm.
On ice. I think that would be nice. So, hey guys, our live, we've been live for about an hour now. And again, maraming salamat for joining us. Our community is growing more and more. I'm really happy that everyone's joining in the chat and joining the conversation. Lalo na yung mga super, super active sa chat natin. Si Kirk.
Kirk says he put salt on dark roasted coffee. The bitterness went down. Saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, and this one's an interesting one because James Hoffman actually taught this, right? He has an episode on this, and I believe Scott Rayo brings salt that he adds when he is out traveling, and he puts it in his coffee as well, and it sort of cuts down the bitterness. So, yun nga, it's about taste balance. So, balancing taste is very important.
Speaking of TikTok, sorry, this is off topic, but did you see the one where people started putting fruits, literal fruits, while they're doing a pour over? Parang they mix either orange peel or some sort of apple or whatnot when they're doing the brew pour over, so that it's infusing.
I've seen that, but I don't understand why you don't just, you do your brew the normal way, right? You brew your V60, and then you squeeze the juice and put it in. Why don't you do that instead, rather than having like a slice of orange in the way?
Or that's the funny thing, because the other thing that I saw was the person actually grabbed an orange, sliced it in half, removed the laman, and then cut a hole in the bottom of the orange and used that as a dripper. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Kasi if you do that, you get the orange, the pith, right? The pith of the orange, the puti part. That's very bitter, di ba? So I don't know about that. If they use the peel, right, where the essential oils of the oranges, then baka mas masarap siya. Ito i-share ni Kirk. I even saw tea bags in portafilter, also orange inside the porta. Yeah, people do crazy stuff with their machines.
How does that affect your machine if they do that?
Well, we've been distributors of Jura espresso machines for over 20 years now. And since we've been servicing these machines for over 20 years, and I have to share with our audience today, we've seen some really weird stuff in the water tank of these Jura machines. So there was a time somebody brought in their Jura espresso machine, right? And ano daw, barado daw yung barado. Ayaw daw mag-brew. So when we opened the thing up, what we found was orange juice in the pipes. So somebody who was ahead of their time, hindi pa uso yung orange juice espresso, no, was already trying to make, or naisip na niya gumawa na espresso using orange juice. So it took a really long time for us to clean it. Ganon katibay ang Jura. It just stopped working, but after we cleaned it, it was working again. Please don't do that for your fully automatic espresso machines. But yeah, that dude, whoever it is, ahead of his time. Yeah, so ang saya ng mga discussion natin. So yun, once again, the episode has been running for over an hour, and I'm really, really happy that everyone is joining in the discussion. Eric, may mga words ka to share with our audience?
We will see you next week in Philippine Coffee Expo. It should
Okay.
be a grand old time where it should be nice seeing everybody all together again. I think this is the first event since Manila Coffee Fest, if I'm not mistaken, that's happened in Manila as a whole.
All right. So once again, thank you for joining the Coffee Rockstars podcast. The podcast, the replay of this podcast will be available online. So if you guys would like to share it with your friends or even keep the discussion joining, just keep messaging or keep putting comments, and then sinasagot naman namin. Also, this podcast is available now on the Spotify podcast under the Coffee Rockstars, and we're also available on the Apple podcast or podcast by Apple. What's it called? I'm not sure. Um, and yun na nga. Let's keep going. Marami pa mga nagme-message. What's your boot number?
We
What do you
had a
mean you
booth
don't know?
number, but then they moved it. They rearranged the booth numbers recently, I think. So I'm not sure what the new booth number is. We had booth
So
number.
so there was a boot number, wala nang boot number. So ang tip is go to the Philippine Coffee Expo, walk around, make sure you say hello to everyone, and look for Conlin's coffee booth. Right, our team at Henry and Sons is also there in the same booth, and yun na nga, we are going to be featuring some of the very best Itogon coffees that we have. We also have very limited Liberica coffees that we processed this year. We already ran out of our Sub-Zero Liberica coffees during the Manila Coffee Festival, but this time at the Philippine Coffee Expo, we have some regular Libericas on sale at the booth, and these are some of the Libericas that's going to be exported to Australia really soon. So you guys, Filipinos, of course, our countrymen, have the first dibs. Okay, so kayo mauuna makakatikim. And I know marami mga nagme-message sa akin gusto nilang mataste. So we're going to make it available at the Philippine Coffee Expo in the Condens booth.
You should have different like limited editions for every coffee event. So parang Manila Coffee Fest, you have this just for this batch, and then for Philippine Coffee Expo, you have this just for this batch.
You know, that's not impossible to do kasi the lot sizes of the coffees, especially from the communities we're working on, kasi the communities Henry and Sons work with are small coffee growing communities. Hindi siya yung mga hacienda eh. It's not huge places. So when we produce lots, we only harvest on a bi-weekly basis. So most of the lots are 2 weeks apart, right? So the lot sizes are small. And yung nga, from lot to lot to lot, magkakaiba yung mga process na ginagawa namin. Kasi what we're trying to do, we're trying to figure out is the proper post-harvest technique for Libericas, right? For the specific species and for the specific community. So, kung nag-process kami, let's say, in Laguna versus mag-process kami in Batangas versus in Cavite, iba-iba talaga ang lalabas kasi iba-iba yung mga techniques na ginagamit natin. That's the thing with coffee processing. No matter where you go, right? You need to understand, or people have to embrace that you need to adapt to the terroir. You need to adapt to the climate. So yeah, that's my tip. Dun sa mga nagpo-process ng coffee dyan. Hindi siya one size fit all. And you reading books or attending seminars only take you so much so far. You have to experience it yourself, and you always have to experiment, right? You have to um, taste it and take record and learn. That's why sensory classes are very important. So yon. Speaking of sensory classes, there's a techno. No, it's called Centone Flavorist. It's coming up this June. So we have the combo class coming up, as well as the foundation and intermediate classes coming up as well. So if you guys would like to level up your sensory skills, whether you're a coffee professional or a coffee enthusiast, this is a really great class to join. There's also a lot of, the more classmates you have, the better, right? Taking a class on your own, it's okay, but it's always good to take it with a bunch of people.
You know what we forgot to mention?
Ano?
One of the best places you can actually learn about coffee. Get involved in your coffee community, local coffee community. You can learn a lot from each other. And there's so many different places you can hang out. And even parang Facebook groups. There's been a lot of local chapters. There's like the Cavite coffee community that put together the Restart Coffee in Cavite. I'm sure there's a group in Davao. I'm sure there are different coffee communities that you can plug yourself into.
Speaking of groups, one group that we have not used up yet is the Coffee Network group. So the Coffee Network group is managed by the Coffee Rockstar Podcast. There's over 22,000 members already. So guys, this is a Filipino group, okay? Marami mga nagjo-join dito sa Coffee Network group sa FB. Na galing ibang bansa. But of course, it's still a Filipino group. So the main reason why we put it up is to connect buyers, sellers, and also coffee enthusiasts that are Filipino. So this is also live streaming there, right? It's shared to that group. So if you can find it, follow, put up messages, use it. This is for you guys. This is for our community. So gamitin natin. And yung the Coffee Rockstars podcast, the reason for why we do this is to give Filipino coffee professionals, enthusiasts, a voice, right? So use your voice. Use this as a platform. If any of you guys would like to be a guest in the Coffee Rockstar podcast, please feel free to reach out. We do this every Friday. 10 a.m. So, join us para may iba naman kaming kakwento kasi lagi naman kaming dalawa lang. I hope we entertain you and I hope we answered all your questions. If there's anything you guys would like to say, please, feel free to message us or post in the comments below. Make sure to share this. And by the way, sirs, the Centone kit we got was amazing. Visit the vault.ph if you want to get one. So the Centone set, we keep those in stock. It's been very, very popular. It's a very good learning resource. So it contains 144 cents that can be found in coffee, but it's not just for coffee. It's applicable to wine connoisseurs. It's applicable to yung basta sensory. So kahit pagkain or ano pa ba ang sinesensory?
Ice cream.
Gatas? Ice cream, yon. So, guys, maraming salamat for joining us today. And we are so appreciative of the support we're getting. Please and make sure to share this with your friends and share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram. And ayun, let's all support.
Use KirkCon as promo code.
Ayun. Use KirkCon as a promo code daw. Okay, Kirk. Maraming salamat. Thank you, Kirk, for joining us. Thank you for everyone who commented in the chat. It's such a fun episode. And we will see you guys again in our next episode. So this is available as a replay on FB and YouTube and as a podcast on the Coffee Rockstar Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. All right, guys. Maraming salamat. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you on our next episode.